as well as the person who is here to talk to you all. So, the very purpose, the very program is organized today because today is World Intellectual Property Day, that is April 26th. Do you have any idea about why this day is celebrated as World Intellectual Property Day? I knew it, I googled it again today morning. In fact, I asked my daughter to do it and confirm my understanding. So I'm pretty sure about it. I knew it. It was on this day that World Intellectual Property Organization, World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, we call it as, or some people say WIPO. It is the intellectual property arm of United Nations. And this particular organization, World Intellectual Property Organization, was set up by way of a convention, international convention. And that convention entered into force, or it became, it came into force on this day in 1970. And from 2000 onwards, on the suggestion of or on the recommendation of WIPO, this day is celebrated as World Intellectual Property Day. So I wanted to have some good ones, but unfortunately this is the one I have. So I have titled it like this, a little bit of tamasha in that, a little bit of, okay, my presentation is also going to be like this. And I've got my details also. Now I teaching learning knowledge. Okay. Now, this is the picture I would like to share with you all. This should represent intellectual property. It's a kind of property. We all use our gray matter. Whenever you think of an innovation as part of your project, as part of your research, it starts somewhere here. Atom bomb or nuclear fusion, everything started here. Then we translate that into some reality. That's what happens. So intellectual property is a kind of asset. And as you can make out from that particular picture, that's an asset which originates in the mind of you and me, every human being. The most, even air and water are not free these days, but intellectual capability or the freedom to think is really free unless you express it. Maybe that's objection. So everyone has this basic material for intellectual property. There is no haves and have-nots in that. So let us have WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, has an estimation, made an estimation 2 years back, 2018, and this estimation was for the year 2020. I'm not very sure whether they have achieved or not because of the pandemic, but there must, I'm sure that it was somewhere nearby. The intellectual property is the value of intellectual property in 2020. Come, if you can. Is this what do you call this? It's something very basic, but I still want all of you to have a look at this particular figure. It's a mind-boggling figure, right? There's a value of intellectual property in 2020 estimated by UN agency, World Intellectual Property Organization. So intellectual property is something very valuable. This is the point I'm trying to convey. Now we have got another one, a tumbler, which for the time being I call as intellectual property system, wherein you have 3 layers in fact. 3 layers. The basic material will come from electronics, mechanical and electrical and all other departments. Any department which is related to technology. Not only from that, but also from arts department also, science and art. Take the example of patent. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with that, at least heard about it. When we think of patent, what we think of is an invention. Definitely it is from the area of science. It could be a vaccine for a pandemic. It could be an electrical vehicle which will give you a mileage of 1,000 kilometers on one recharge for 10 minutes. Now it is not there. Or a car which can give you a mileage of 100 kilometer, 150 kilometer per liter, because today it is 115. I just filled the fuel today on the way. All these are innovations. You can think of anything, but you should think, and that's the reason why I started off with that picture. And it would include patent. It has trademark in it, another item, or in other words, I would say that when I say intellectual property, it is not just one kind of property. There are as many as 8 kinds of items within its code. So the second item is this, trademark. And this is the third one, industrial design. Copyright, perhaps the most popular one. Semiconductor chip protection, IC chip protection. Electronics, okay. Now, plan variety. I'm sure that there are no people from technology department, but we have something like lawyers or something even for that department. Okay, geographical indication, which you might have heard about. You must have come across that in the newspapers. If we are in the habit of only 15% of the youngsters do read newspapers these days. That's why the Audit Bureau circulation says. Anyway, if you are among the 50%, you must have come across this. And not the least, trade secret. So these are the items that would come within the fold of intellectual property. Though we use the singular, it is excluded in that sense. So what we are going to do is we are going to have a basic understanding about each of these items, and we will have some case studies, something like case studies about some of the important items. That's the agenda for the time. Invention. It shows how it goes. It's an incremental innovation. That tells a story, right? The whole one, from left to right, not from the other one. Patent. Simple, and nothing great to understand, nothing great to communicate. If you are all great people, I have probably some simple things. Okay, green works here, only red doesn't work. Some sort of discrimination. Designs. Only for one category of this particular example. And design also originates in the mind of a person, or when a person looks outside, just look outside, you will definitely find a butterfly. Many of the designs are inspired, like Priyadarshi, inspired from the natural designs. And if you have an attractive design, you will sell more. See, if you cannot make a distinction on price and also on function. Like for example, this particular pen. Sorry, I'm going for a time. Anjana is in a shop to buy a pen. So I'm sure that there must have been very many pens like this. She will spend only 5 rupees on that. Okay, her pocket has 5 rupees. Her agenda is for just 5 rupees, and she wants a black ballpoint pen. If there are 5 which will which will fall into this category, all are black pen, black ballpoint pen, and 5 rupees. How would she select one? She will look at the design, which originates in the mind of a person, and designing and coming out with a product requires a lot of investment. It's a kind of innovation. Even automobiles are like that. Just look at some of the Benz E class or C class or whatever class, I don't know. All these have some. Okay, next, that is another intellectual property item. And literary and artistic creation, I've got just an example. One arranged murder from, let's say, great author. You have copyright there. That's also intellectual property. That makes sense of, put things in perspective. These are the items that you might protect under copyright law. If you want to have a copyright, you may have to show that your creation is a literary work or an artistic work, dramatic work, musical work, sound recording or cinematograph film. Please note, cinematograph film would include even short films and documentaries. Not only films which you and I usually refer to in our ordinary chat. Okay. Do you identify this? Is there anybody who would not identify this? That's the power of trademark. That's the power of trademark. What's protected is good. In one form of the invention, there could be the same device to be made in different forms. So this is one of the forms. Okay. Yet another form, yet another incarnation of the same, which I myself found out. So, to assist with assist with understanding invention, reference will now be able to accompany drawings. So these are the requirements. These are the brief description of the drawing. Figure 1 shows what? Figure 2 shows what? Shows one example of a bedsheet tensioning device according to this invention. Shows the application. Second one shows the application. First one shows the invention. This is the device, and this is how it is used. This is how it is used. It's a kind of clip. This is the anti-climate. But even this is patented. This is the example for the patent office site. You very patented.
So is it patent or design, industrial design?
See, industrial design in fact is not concerned about function. It's in China. There is a lot of potential for this thing in India. Not very much of technological, but definitely we all belong to some villages. Even though we would belong, our roots will definitely be there. And if you have anything in your village, usually in a village, may not be in a metro, then definitely if you can educate the people there and help them out, if you have some socialism in you or in a very bad sense, definitely it's something very useful. Some of the examples, if you just Google it, if you go to GI site, there are very many examples. Now there is a major dispute with that. I mean, close this. There is a dispute between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu on Mysore Pak. Mysore Pak. We all think that it's made in Karnataka, but Tamil Nadu also has equal claim for that. It is not at settled. Not at settled. Rasgulla had some problem. Where is it originated? Orissa or West Bengal? Orissa or West Bengal? Yeah. This itself is a problem. It's still not settled. That's good. Basmati rice. Where is it grown? In India or in Pakistan? Basmati doesn't know political boundaries. Basmati is definitely a geographical indication. It's grown in India. It grows in Pakistan as well. And there is a problem.
Then you make your summary of your invention, you make the specifications, you make the claims, and then file it, send it to the patent office with the required money. Then they will send you acknowledgement and a file. So this is one procedure. Another procedure now asking for everything. Online methods are available. Online methods, this is if you go to the site and log in. First you have to make your account. And before making an account, one condition is that you need a digital signature. So if you are applying through the NITC, then you don't require a digital signature, but your NITC requires for the who are in charge or also requires a digital signature. And digital signature is rather easy to get because you can go to any Akshaya Kendra, many Akshaya Kendras of that facility, and there are certain digital signature providers like e-Mudra, like that. So online also you can buy. If you buy online, it will take 1 week, and they will send you one token, in which signature is there. You know, when they are asked you to sign, at that time you have to insert in your computer and then invest. So this is very easy, and it will cost you around 2,000 rupees for a 2-year period that signature is there. But if you are doing it from here to this IP then you don't want to spend 2,000 rupees for your signature. But then the method will be the order of the method will be a and you will be the inventor. So it won't make much difference. But if your discovery is really worth to commercialize, then you see you will do some discovery. Whenever you are throughout your period of using that technology, you have to pay an API money because it is born. Here that patent is developed and by the facilities Indian you use that. So the patent owner is enabled and inventor is you. So there may be dealing or whatever. I think some draft you are sending, your professor was sent for a draft to be approved by the NITC, and in that draft I don't know how much percentage they are paying. So if you want to make claim, less or no, depends on the whether you are it is a provisional or you can pick whether it is provisional or it is what is it provisional? What is what? Provisional application and specification. Yeah, full detailed one. So then you give the abstract and your full specifications. Then file it, all the forms. You first 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is an inventor. I am the inventor. You are a declaration. First 1 and 2. This is a fee for first form. You have to pay a fee of 8,000 rupees if you are doing from NIT, and only up to 30 pages. So you have to confine your patent to 30 pages. If more, then you have to pay each page, additional page, you have to pay 800 rupees. And if it is and claims also, how many claims you are there? If it is more than 10 claims, you have to additionally pay. Up to 10 claims, you have to only 1,000. How much is this? In the specification itself, the claim and all this coming. So claim should not go beyond 10. And if you go beyond 10, then you have to pay 1,600 each for additional fee. Then form 5 is there, declaration, there is no fee. Then form 8, request for including inventor name. So what is the problem is, this I did not know. So when the patent certificate came, my name is not there, director is there. There is no other good certificate. So when you carry this thing, you can't tell these people, or the people cannot get an idea of who is the owner or who is the inventor, what is your role. Then you have to take your specifications along with you, or original application and show that this is mine. So for that also, they have a fee. You can apply a specific another form. You can submit a form H, which is costing around 4,000 rupees. And that my name or the inventor's or inventor. More than one inventor is possible. So inventor's name also can be shown in the printed certificate. That is form. Then you have a form 9 is there. That is very important aspect. So once you file your patent, you cannot publish your data. So once you publish your work, and then you apply on that work for patent, then what happens? They won't accept. It will just become a public property. It's already known. There's no innovation in that. So they want to give you patent. But if you, this patent office have a publication called Indian Patent Journal. So in that they will publish the abstract of your paper and your title. So once it comes out, you can publish. So normally it takes 18 months. Once you apply the patent, after 18 months, 1.5 years, they will publish it in the patent. But there is a provision if you want, but 18 months is a long period if you think. If you want to publish earlier, then what you have to do is you have to additionally submit a form called, what is it? Form 9. Very simple form, you can fill it. And you have to pay rupees 12,500 for it. And then you want, your application is now safely in the live in the office. And if they have to, now you want it to be checked or examined for its fault or acceptance, then you have to pay submit a form 18. And that form 18 is for examination and fees is rupees 20,000. But if you want a sudden examination, immediate, because you are a discovery, you want to put it into industry, production, you want immediate, then you have to pay 60,000 rupees. 18A you have to submit. Then you see, you forget about this rupees 60,000, or 20,000 you are paying for your public examination, and then finally it will be 44,500 rupees. So if you want immediate, then pay 60,000 within 1 month or 2 months. Okay? So this is the summary of how to file a patent. So these are all very easy things. With half an hour you can finish. But now, along with the form 1 and 2, you have to show. You have to, in the case of provisional application, you have to put your specification. Provisional specification, that I told you only one paragraph is required. But detailed specification, it needs 30 pages or more, whatever it is. So in that you have to first give an abstract, then you have to put the idea what it is, then you have to give some the prior art. So what is prior art? Art means it is a technical jargon. So prior art means whatever, for example, when you literature survey you must be doing. When you are doing research, you know, you are doing some literature survey. You will see what are the works already done in this area, what are the gaps, and what will be your objective here to fill that gap. This is the preliminary work a research scholar is doing usually. So you should first know what are the things already people have done about this code. So that is what is called prior art. So you have to say that this type of things have taken place, this type of things are related to this has been developed, and this is the problem there, this area has not been addressed, or this specific problem has not been addressed, and I am planning to address that problem. So this is what is called prior art. So some type of literature. And then after that, you will describe what is your description of the invention. So you will briefly, with 1 or 2 pages, you can explain what is your innovation, and what are some figures are there. You can give that figures and drawings along with that. And then finally, you have to give some examples. For example, if you are making.
All of you, we are all gathered here for the validity ceremony of Intellectual Property Day celebration 2020. As an academician, we are all working very hard towards the research, and finally, as outcome of the research, we are coming out with publications. So this is the time to change. Rather concentrating on publications, we are supposed to focus on filing patent as well as product development. Also, the culture is looking new. It is most essential. There are a lot of social issues are laid down at present. So, although Government of India is spending crores and crores of rupees for research, finally the outcome will be fruitful if there is a society is developing. That is a major gain we have to concentrate hereafter, rather publishing only papers. Although the papers are published in peer-reviewed international journal, including IEEE transactions, when an academician writes a paper, another academician reads the paper and he defends the same concept. Most of these peer-reviewed international journals very less reviewed and referred by industrialists. So there is a wide gap exists between industry and academia. So with overcoming this gap, Government of India come out with lot of plans, and our institutes, institutions innovation council is one such forum which will bring the gap narrowed down between industry as well as academia, as well as to address many social problems. With this, I move to my duty to welcome our dignitaries. It is my proud and privilege to welcome the Honorable Director of our NIT Calicut, Professor Prasad Krishna sir. On behalf of myself, on behalf of all the audience, on behalf of IIC, I invite you, sir.
B. Rajiv, Vice Chairman, National Innovation Foundation. My colleagues, teaching and non-teaching staff, and my dear students. Possessing intellectual property was not in the tradition of this country, because India is and always Vishwaguru, and the Shastra says, you cannot keep with you knowledge, wealth, and responsibilities. You have to delegate. You have to. That's why Jnanam Brahmedi Saksha said the scriptures. The reason is all this cannot be. If you keep it with yourself, it will develop grossness. Knowledge, even wealth. So we are supposed to distribute, and in that we continue the journey of our soul. So that is the beauty of this great nation. However, of late we find, because of this India, if you see all our scientific discoveries, if you study whether it is in astrophysics, whether it is in metallurgy, whether it is in urban planning, irrigation, whatnot, history, social science, everything originated, I can say without any hesitation, from this great land. If at all the Europeans or others, civilization got an iota of what we have, is only from this great nation. Unfortunately, we have not recorded, there is no proof whether we know the properties of curcumin, that manjal, turmeric, haldi. We have no idea. Everything is known. Why tulsi should not be plucked after sunset? Why this radish should not be consumed after a certain time? This is Indian wisdom. And why fasting is important? Autophagy. Now, Nobel Prize to a Japanese scientist, Is it a new knowledge for the Indian rishis? In all our scriptures taught, in all our festivals, we have this fasting. And the simplest thing I will tell you is the Ekadashi. Ekadashi. The 11th day is important because it is simple, scientific. Don't believe. It is nothing to do with the religion. Please, whatever India has made is highly scientific. Why we connect this to religion? And I'm very happy when the country is celebrating the Azadi Ka Amrit Kal, the 75 years of independence. Soon we are going to have. All our institutions were asked by the ministry to find our vision for the centenary celebration 2047. What do you want? That's what I'm telling my deans. Prepare a vision plan, what NIT Calicut should be. We obviously should be a multidisciplinary engineering, not engineering, a multidisciplinary research university we should be, where like Nalanda and Chattashila, all stream, all discipline, work together. That is how make a holistic being. So that kind of transformation we should be prepared, and the government wants us entire, all the ministries are working their vision plan for 2047, where this great nation will be celebrating our centennial celebrations, Asadika, that now that is going on, the Asadika Amrit Varsh 75th year, and I am happy with these kind of IPR days, lot of awareness. Earlier we thought it's a big headache, and once you patent office, once you apply, it takes so much of time till the patent is considered. Then once you get the award of the patent, it takes so much inordinate delays. And the government is now facilitating, and that development time is substantially reduced.
Sir, and all the participants who have assembled here. As we know, we are celebrating IPR Day. I would just start from the background of this event. We are having an IPR policy in 2016. I would like to just read from the vision statement of this IPR policy. IPR policy vision statement says, an India where creativity and innovation are stimulated by intellectual property for the benefit of all. That is a vision statement. So when you are innovating something and you have a tangible, a non-tangible asset, not a tangible asset, that is intellectual property, it should benefit all. The last man in our nation should get the benefit. So the vision statement says that. What is the second point of that vision? The intellectual property, India where intellectual property promotes advancement of science and technology, arts and culture, traditional knowledge, biodiversity. All these things are listed. Knowledge is the main driver of development, and knowledge owned is transformed into knowledge shared. That is the vision of our IPR policy. I hope you have understood all these things. These are very simple words. I have only one simple request before you. It was already stated in the introduction. Don't forget the society. That is very important. Our nation has a rich history of innovative mind, of scientific mind. But it was lost in between because of various reasons. If you go into the history of intellectual property also, we can find that for more than 3000 years back also, there were some methods by which there were inscriptions in some products or whatever utensils they were using, especially in the Chinese pots and other things. There were some inscriptions of who made it at what day, etc. There was some identification, which means they wanted to put a stamp on the innovation. But in India, the thought process was different. Whatever you have invented, whether it was by Shushruta or Aryabhatta or anybody else, they doesn't want to put a stamp on that. They think that it is their duty to think, to invent something, to work for the nation. As it is said in the Vedas, Sangachatvam, Samvadatvam, Sambho Manamsi Janada. It was there. There was a culture where the people thought at the universal level, not at the individual level. But anyway, the things have changed, and as you know, the Europeans, the US, and every nation is coming to India for collaboration. Why? Because we have immense potential. Now coming to the mission statement of the IPR policy, it says stimulate a dynamic, vibrant and balanced intellectual property system in India to foster creativity and innovation and thereby promote entrepreneurship and enhance socio-economic and cultural development. So this is the way forward. The mission statement I have spoken, but what is the mission? Or what is our mission? To have a dynamic, vibrant and balanced intellectual property rights system. So system is needed now. It should be a balanced one, either for the beneficiaries or by the owner of that intellectual. There should be a balance. That is also required. And the entrepreneurship is the tool by which we are going to translate it or commercialize it. Unless an idea or a technology is commercialized means in the positive sense, it has to reach to the consumer or the beneficiary. You can use both the term consumer in one context and the beneficiary in the social context. Then only your intellectual property or the asset has any relevance. If you got some patent and if it has nothing to do with the mankind or even to the nature, then what is the use of that? You have spent your time, energy wastefully, I would say. But I am glad that I am representing one institution, National Innovation Foundation, which was started in 2000 by an act of the Parliament. See, nowadays in every speech we can hear this term innovation at least 5 times in every paragraph. But 20 years back, this innovation was an alien word. And India government at that time was fortunate to constitute an institution exclusive for innovation. Its name is National Innovation Foundation. It was started in Gandhinagar and it is working as an autonomous institution at the Department of Science. So what is the objective of this institution? That also I would like to share. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce my institution or the institution which I am working. So we want to pick those issues. So from idea to development and inception or product development, we have a value chain of functions including intellectual properties. The intellectual property of that innovator will be safeguarded by NIF and we do all the process. More than 1,800 patents are filed through NIF from the grassroots innovators. You are fortunate to have a good academic background and other things, all these facilities and institutions are there. But those people who doesn't have any academic background, who doesn't have any institutional background, NIF has support. That is the mandate given to NIF. Second is, our nation is rich, as our director said. We have a rich tradition of science and technology. Traditional knowledge is there. So we want to preserve, document, validate it to the contemporary requirements and give it to the society. The traditional knowledge. So these are the two mandates given to NIF. And we have around 4 lakhs of innovative ideas digitalized and published in our website. You can search National Innovation Foundation website. You can go to the innovations area. You can see more than 3 lakhs of innovations which were supported, developed or submitted to NIF. And out of that, around 500 technologies were given to entrepreneurs. And we have a venture capital supported by SIDBI, and we supported those entrepreneurs who wanted to develop these innovations into some units, some production units. They are all functioning. So this is how innovation, intellectual property and the society can go hand in hand. So I request that NIT has a big role. This is a national institution and an organization from national institution from Gandhinagar. Our headquarters is in Gandhinagar, but we work under the central government. The Department of Science and Technology have come together. So let us work together, think together, and find some problems which are faced by our neighborhood, our household, how the life of an ordinary person can be improved. So this can be a thought of the day, and as Voltaire had said, no war can support when the time of a new idea has come. No, living in a knowledge society, so we have to gear up towards the challenge. Thank you.
I invite Dr. Baiju Nair, Coordinator, IPR Cell and NITC, to introduce the best innovator of the year.
Good evening all. Actually, it's a privilege for me to introduce someone like Professor Pradeep, HAG former head and head of the Department of Physics. Actually, I'm not sure I'm ready to. Okay. So, thank you, sir. Okay. So, I just introduced Pradeep, sir, and he obtained his PhD in condensed matters because IAC, we have decided each year we are identifying an innovator, and every year. So this time we are proud to announce our one and only Pradeep sir for this award. So thank you once again all. Give me a big applause.
NB Rajan, Vice Chairman, National Innovation Foundation of India. Dr. Baiju Nair, Dr. Margaret, Dr. Margaret, Dr. Sri, Dr. Ashok. And all my students and other colleagues. So I already talked a lot of things to you now, and it's already time also. So all time now. So our innovations and a lot of innovations are coming up, and a lot of products. And startups are making big things, and in our startups, lot of foreign investments are coming. So they are saying they can't now treat us as like a small follower of these big countries. So now we are also in that state, and then you can see that I am seeing from the newspaper and news that we are now standing up, and we have the same status as many of the foreign big powers. Because when you go to foreign countries like Europe or earlier, there is always a contempt. You can see in their behavior and all these things, whether we are capable or whether even how we are taking food, their discussions. So when some of our guests came, my collaborator and the two collaborators from France came here, and when they are seeing the food they are taking into the hand, one day one lady professor was telling me, so you are doing like this. So I had to fight with her, and because you see, when I told him we are taking with the hands and we are maximum getting diarrhea, but you people are bringing uncurable diseases. They are taking. So now there are many things. So that conduct is going because we have now scientific power is there. We have grassroots level we are developing. And you see, one thing is Ayurveda is still considered as a quackery in Europe and America. They are not officially recognized, even homeopathy is conventional medicines. But still, our export to these countries are increasing like anything. So, this type of things are there. So, we are now developing like a giant, and I hope that this technology and this knowledge, all these things will come down to the ground level, and our poor also will soon benefit. So with this hope, I thank all of the. Still, I thank him, and I got a very good recognition and for arranging this first annual function and giving me this award. I thank you all and for listening me. Thank you.
Celebration of the World Intellectual Property Day by the Institutions Innovation Council of NIT Calicut. So in connection with this, we had organized an online essay writing competition, and for that we had received large number of submissions on a very relevant topic of IPRs and the importance in developing the Indian economy. So I'm going to call the prize winners for the award, and our director will be giving the certificates. So first prize is to Sri Ramini Mangipuri, 4th year BTech Chemical Engineering Department. The second prize to Sandro Jacob Toshi, 3rd year BTech Mechanical Engineering, and P. Vishal Reddy, 2nd year MTech Chemical Engineering Department. I think he is not there. So on 22nd April, the IIC in association with the IEEE Power and Energy Society Students Chapter also celebrated the World Earth Day, and there was an essay writing competition also in that regard, and the results for that are also being announced. I request the award winners to come forward and collect the certificate. First prize is to Mr. Ankit Dote, MTech Electrical Engineering Department. I request our director to hand over the certificates. And the second prize is to Mr. Dinesh Kolipaka, BTech Chemical Engineering. In addition to these events, today there was also a panel discussion and open house on the topic of IPR opportunities and challenges. So as a token of appreciation for all the invited speakers or all the panelists, we would like to present a certificate. I would like to call Mrs. Sija Gopinathan, PhD Scholar, Electrical Engineering Department. Mr. Ramadan N.A.M., PhD Mechanical Engineering Department. Mr. Sheshagiri, PhD Electrical Engineering Department. And Mr. Jugan Mathur, who is an alumnus and the co-founder of Nave Robotics. I think so. Thank you.
Pradeep awardee, the best innovator of the year, and Professor HAG, Department of Physics, NIT Calicut. Delivered an expert talk today along with Dr. Lawalman, Professor, Government Law College, Kozhikode. Both of the speakers gave excellent lectures and interacted effectively with the audience. On behalf of IAC team and the entire fraternity of NIT Calicut, and on my own behalf, I express our sincere thanks to speakers. Thank you, Pradeep sir. Thank you so much. I wish also to thank Dr. Kudrave, President IAC, who lead us with his experience. To give colors to this function. Thank you, sir. On behalf of IAC team and on my own behalf, I would also like to thank all the deans and HODs, faculty members of NIT Calicut for their moral support and guidance. I also extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Preeti, CEO, TBA NITC, and Dr. Paijiji Nair, faculty in charge, IPR cell, for their constant support throughout the event. Dr. Subramanian, Department of Physics, and Dr. Noel Jacob, Department of Chemical Engineering, are our innovation ambassadors who helped us a lot in coordinating this event. Thank you, Dr. Subramanian and Dr. Noel. An event like this will not happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and bird's eye for all details. We have been fortunate to be back with a team of very motivated, dedicated people of our IAC. I thank all innovation ambassadors, faculty members, student members of IAC and NITC for extending their willingness to undertake various responsibilities for making this event a success. Also, I thank all the participants of today's open house event. Last but not least, I thank Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell for guiding us with their right instructions. To conclude, let me once again reiterate my gratitude to all. Now, I would like to take permission from all the delegates to end this program. Thank you, sir.